Candy Crush, the roll runs up the bulls, girl. I jumped out the porch and went straight up, girl. You can leave your town and head to another world. What the move? I'm tired of
It's good chat.
I'm tired of spying on you. Had to pay mine too. I made it rain on you when it was hard to maintain too. I was playing games with you like you could never play games too.
Good TR.
You just gotta tell me what you want.
It's that time of year now.
All you do is point at what you want. Crystal cut punters in the channel. $35 for a dub. Nigga try to buy the cash cards. Person Miller braids with the walls. $35 for a dub. You make it twerk for me. You get a purse for me.
What up, people?
Good chat.
We're back. Rambles like origin. College basketball.
I know, right?
Kind of. I'm gonna cry.
Best time of the year.
Yes, sir.
No shit in my sticker won't trip.
Fuck the NFL, bro. Let's move on to college basketball already. Like, let's be real.
Diamonds right behind my lip. Down while my left 50 on my wrist. Diamonds so cold on my neck, it got me sick. Rob Simmons mix it up with the Rick. Flexing on these haters, oops, I mean my bad. Made it from the soil, made it from the Rex. Richer than your first, richer than your last. LUV, know I got the swag. Pop a rubber band, pop another Zan. I groove around, party pack my hand. I'm seeing double looking through my lens. Tell me what you want, I just want your friend. You just gotta tell me what you want. Liverton, diamond, keep calm. All you do is point at what you want. Crystal cut punters in the channel. $35 for a dub.
On a craft or Sunday Night Football.
$35 for a dub. You make it twerk for me. You get a purse for me. $80 for a burger. You get a purse for free. I make it work for me. Copy and burst for me. Turn to a DIOB. I make it work for me. I make her drop it and pop it and break it all.
Y'all are finally dedicated now.
I make her shut up and suck and she fucking.
Thank you, bro.
I make her shut up, she fucking, she sucking that asshole. That means they drip, that mean wrist. Leg it, fuck out the skits. Left wrist sitting on the brick. Left bitch have it, lie like a pig. Fish for a K for the shit. Grab an AK for the rest.
I'm projected to start increasing my bank again. Yeah, me too.
Promise the goal. That's the goal.
I was like in Danny Dimes passing yards. Yeah, how'd that work out? I didn't take it. I didn't even track it.
Jordan Love just threw a pick 6.
Make it rain on you.
Love that.
That's just
You have
great.
Packers?
Steve's does.
You just gotta tell me what you want. Liverton, diamond, keep calm. All you do is point at what you want. Crystal cut punters in the channel. $35 for a dub. Nigga try to buy the cash cards. Person Miller braids with the walls.
Yeah, I guess they locked in, Slayer.
$35 for a dub. You make it twerk for me. You get a purse for me. $80 for a burger. You get a purse for free.
Oh, alright, I'm good, boys. What's going on?
I've been good.
How are we? Let me turn this down real quick. Look who it is. Jeffy Rosa and Eddie Powers. Who would have thought? The duo of the century, huh? Wow.
That
Jeff,
time of
how's it
year,
feel to be
bro.
back on stream, man? Beeve made his return today, too, earlier this morning. Now we have
Why
Jeff
does-
coming back.
I
Wow.
feel useful once again. I actually know what I'm talking about. I haven't had that since last April. So,
Something's in the water, I think, too.
yeah. I'm excited. I'm fucking so excited, bro.
I know you are. We're going to do a little bit of a season preview for CBB. And obviously it starts tomorrow. How many big games are tomorrow? 2?
There's a
There's a few.
Yeah, Texas, Ohio State on a neutral in Vegas. Baylor at Gonzaga. It's on a neutral, but it's 7 minutes from Gonzaga's campus. Texas A&M on the road at UCF. And then
Can't escape it.
those are pretty much those are the only 3 Power 5 games. But there's some good games. A lot of good teams playing, obviously, but very early in the season they're playing those mid-major, low-major teams.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of big spreads on the board, but Definitely.
Dude, thank you. Someone said it, dude. Big fella, dude. NFL's product has been so mid lately. It's been unwatchable. I agree, dude. I'm so ready for college basketball. I've been enjoying NBA more than the NFL, honestly. It hasn't even been that far into the season yet. Yeah. I'm so with you.
I think NFL is just getting ruined because the more sports betting is getting popularized, the more it's shit. Like the more like its product has went to shit. I don't know if that's correlated. I don't know if that's correlated. I'm not saying it's correlated. I'm just saying that's what I've observed. I mean, it's damn near unwatchable. So, and it's football. I'd rather watch soccer right now.
NHL's been fun. I can't lie. NHL's been good to watch this year.
Yeah, I know you guys aren't NBA guys, but like for me as an NBA guy, dude, I love the product. It's been fucking awesome so far. There's been a ton of good games. It's been competitive, high scoring. It's been a really fun watch so far. Not too many injuries other than Embiid and a few other names, but
Paul.
Yeah. I agree. NBA's made a huge step forward, I think. A lot of people hated. I think a lot of people would agree that was their like least favorite in terms of like regular season products and just to watch. But now I think people are going to be having a little change of faith. All right, excited to talk some college basketball with you guys. I think you guys are more well-versed than I am currently in terms of like what you guys know preseason and knowledge. So I'm excited to kind of pick your guys' brains. I'm going to be asking y'all a lot of questions in terms of conference.
That's fine, bro. Honestly,
so I'm excited. That's just if I'm asking too many questions, just tell me to shut up. But I feel like that'll be a good spot.
This is going to be a long stream. Just by the nature of it. I mean, we're going to run through major 5 conferences, so a lot of teams to go over. We won't go over every single team, but we'll be going over like teams that we're high on. Mm-hmm. Like we'll go over a conference winner, worst, probably like a team that we're low on, team that we're high on, a sleeper for the conference, like a volatile team, shit like that. We'll just be chopping it up. And chat, like if you guys have a question, like we're gonna run through it by conference. So if we're in Barry, it's playable. I saw the noti. That's playable. When you're like, if we're doing the ACC and say we're talking about Duke and UNC and you have like a specific question on NC State, probably a team we wouldn't cover, ask us the question about NC State. Like just ask us questions. And yeah, I can back Eddie. He knows ball. He knows ball. So he doesn't have any accolades yet. He's starting his Twitter now. You can shout. Yeah, it's literally right there at Eddie Powers. Yeah,
I can say if anyone watched the surgical stream with Book It with Trent, I've been going on there since like late 2021, early 2022. Wanted to just figure it out and get my knowledge up a little bit, make sure I understood the sport before I started giving out plays full time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, me and Jeff have been kind of locked in for a little bit, just talking about stuff, and I'm finally made the full jump this year.
No, yeah, definitely give him a follow. He's he knows a lot about CBB, so I wouldn't be recommending. Can you hear that, Noti?
No.
All right, good.
Just you. I think it's just your computer.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was coming through on your end.
I forgot what I was about to say, but forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean we all met through Book It pretty much, and I think it's one of the coolest in terms of like, you know, pipelines of this kind of content. I mean, it feels like everybody's meeting one way or another from Book It. So I mean, look at Ron. There's Ron Mux. Me and him were chilling in playback through Book It. So shout out them.
I don't have a dub club.
I was gonna say
not yet.
Jesus Christ, Jeff. I've been waiting to do this. Tell all the Twitter folk where to head on Twitch.
Yeah, if you're watching, I mean, I'm sure these numbers are inflated, but saying there's like 500 plus people watching on Twitter, get the fuck over to the actual stream on Twitch, or else we'll just block you on Twitter and Twitch. You'll never be able to watch us again.
Royal,
you don't want that. You don't want that.
Bro, if you want to come on, brother, just let me know. Or you already have the link, but I felt like he didn't want it. He's been burnt out. Me and Royal have been locked in, Jeff. You know,
I know. I've been tuning in. I've been staying out of chat because I don't want to get chirped, but I've been tuning in. Obviously, I'm not watching all of it, But like I tuned in this morning and I got up to like the Bears game, and then I came back like 25 minutes later. You guys were still talking about the Bears game. I was like, dude, yo, how the fuck are they still on this game? I was like, yeah. You guys are locked in with that. Jeff ducking the smoke? Yeah, bro, I am. I don't care, bro. I mean, you guys are either gonna chirp me or not. Like, it's not. I can't say nothing about it. The only thing I can do is prove that it's worth the money, which I'm gonna aim to do this year. So that's all. I can't talk yet. Gotta let the results talk. So
my computer.
Enough yapping. Let's get into this shit.
Sure. Let me bring up the screen real quick. So we'll start with the ACC. Go conference to conference. I want to hear everybody's thoughts in chat. Obviously, I think people will have more so questions than actual opinions, because I feel like college basketball is one of the hardest sports in terms of like, it's one sport I don't take futures in. Is kind of what I'm getting to.
And it's hard. It's a lot harder.
It's very volatile year over year. There's a lot of changes.
Exactly. Yep. Like off season, like I think like, I mean, I know me and Eddie have like followed the off season. Like I've spent hours like looking at these teams and stuff. So like I think I'll have a great advantage come November, like literally tomorrow, like for the first couple weeks. But if you're not like keeping up, it can be a lot to take in, and it'll take like a couple weeks for you to really like learn the teams and what their identities are going to be.
Is it me lagging or is it you guys? Do you guys see that too? Eddie,
probably me. It's probably me. I have the Wi-Fi.
I'm good. You're good, MJ. It's Jeff a little bit. I think the one biggest thing though that everyone's got to realize for college ball this year. I know people say it every year, but with NIL specifically and the way that these collectives have been funded, I think this season will have the most parity that we've seen in the sport in a long time. I think every team is putting money into these rosters. Like teams are out here trying to expect results. I think that we're going to see a lot of teams that you don't expect to look good, and they're like, it's just going to be like it's always down to the wire. But I think we're going to see a lot with these lines too. Like it's going to be a lot of things close. Like if you don't get in at the initial line, a lot of it, I think we're going to see people getting just clipped on these end of the game, like compared from opening line to just the way that it closes.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a really big thing that we see this year.
Another thing, like, that I think is going to be huge this year. I mean, like you said with NIL, like 10 years ago, there was like 5 teams that could win the Natty. And like this year, like I could see 20, like seriously 20 teams I could see winning the Natty. Like if someone told me like this team's winning the Natty, I'd be like, yeah, probably like they have a chance. Where years ago, that was not a capability because it was just recruiting. But yeah.
So to get
like
the
just
conversation.
Oh
no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say.
Go ahead. I was going to change the topic, so go ahead.
Just from an odds standpoint, I was just going to bounce off what Jeff said. Just from an odds standpoint, if you look at anyone that's 30-1 or lower right now to win the Natty, I would say all of them, like obviously they're going to have a good chance. Genuinely, anyone that's 30-1 or lower to win the Natty right now, I think is a very good chance of winning it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win it by the end of the year. Like there's no one I look at that and I'm like, yeah, no, they're not winning. And I feel like even last year there was a few teams where I'm like, you have no chance of winning this.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I mean, Bet365 doesn't have too many lines up in terms of like futures other than the championship. They don't have conference. What books do you see with conference futures right now? FanDuel, I'm assuming. I'm trying to have it pulled up.
Yeah, the big ones. I'm pretty sure my Austria has had them for months now. So yeah.
Honestly, I just want to get the conference odds pulled up so I can.
I took my Big East future in early September, I think.
Yeah,
September.
Yeah, I took all mine last month too.
All right, I got it pulled up on DraftKings here. Beauties.
What's Duke at now?
125.
I thought they were 110.
I saw 125 at DraftKings just a little bit ago.
Yep, plus 125 for Duke right now. Cool. All right, I got it up now. All right, so I can read off the odds for y'all. If anybody wants to know what someone is, I can read it off. I just want to have it handy. 365 has con winners. I couldn't find it.
Let me know. Let me know if I'm lagging too, because I still have that Wi-Fi thing.
I think. Your voice isn't. You just lag on your video sometimes. But
I think my voice isn't lagging.
Just to kind of start the conversation, I know you guys have futures already placed. for a guy like me, who, like I said, I'm not a big on taking college basketball futures. I like to let it play out, and maybe I'll play some as the year goes. I do have some in mind, but I want to know what kind of goes into your thinking in terms of teams you want to back preseason. In terms of, is it transfers, is it coaching, is it experience? You can use examples of kind of the futures you were on, but what are the key things to look at for somebody in chat that's maybe looking for a future to ride this season?
Yeah. It depends. Like for me, I don't really do a lot of conference futures. I only have Duke and Illinois, and Illinois was a value play. Just because I think that the top of the Big Ten is going to be very extremely tight. So plus 1,200, I'm easily taking that. But like my only other conference future is Duke for 5 units. And the reason why I put 5 units on it, which I never do, is simply the fact of I'm just low on a lot of the teams in this conference. Obviously, UNC is going to be good. I think Louisville is going to have a good year. But to me, like through an entire season standpoint, I just think Duke is levels ahead of everyone here. Even UNC, I think Duke's gonna sweep them. They might go home and home just because it's hard to win at UNC. But last year UNC went 2-0 against Duke. I think this, to me, I'm looking at Duke's roster and they have everything. They have a deep bench. They have a 10-man rotation if they want one. They have loads of talent. They have freshmen. They have seniors. They have experience. They have a good coach that I trust. I know a lot of people don't trust Shire, but I just think he hasn't had the rosters yet. You look at last year's team, for what they had, he actually coached them very good. They had no paint protection, and he actually took them far. But I just think Duke is levels ahead of every other team. So, that's why I took Duke. But, if I'm looking at another conference like the Big 12 or the SEC, I'm not taking a future in any of those just because, to me, there's no value in that just because I see 10 different teams being able to win those conferences, and I probably wouldn't put my money on any of them, knowing in the Big 12, for instance, Houston and Kansas, they're not going to lose a home game all year, and they're going to be wagons on the road. It's like Houston last year on the road was still nails. So to me, I'm looking at the ACC. I'm thinking of home as well: Georgia Tech, NC State, Florida State, Cal, Syracuse, Stanford. Those aren't good home court advantages. I don't think they're going to struggle on the road really. So I think they're going to roll through conference season. I think they're going to roll through non-con. Duke's probably the best team in the nation. So that's why I'm on them. I'm so high on them, and I see a conference that I think is going to be kind of ass.
So walk me through the Cooper Flagg hype. Is he going to live up to expectations, or what is his involvement in this team going to be? Is he going to be the primary scorer, or what's going on with that?
Well, Duke's not going to have a primary scorer. Legitimately, they won't. They'll have games where Con Knipple, another 5-star freshman who's going to start, will go for 30. They're going to have games where Coop goes for 30. Caleb Foster's going to get 25. They truly don't have one guy to rely on. That's why I think they're so good. You look at a UNC, they're going to need RJ Davis to put up numbers if they want to compete against elite teams. And I look at Duke, and Cooper Flagg could have 10 points against UNC, but the way he affects the game is different. He's the best prospect I've seen in college since Zion and RJ Barrett. He doesn't need to drop 10 points. He's drawing doubles, and they have shooters all around. He's one of the best shot blockers in the country already. Hasn't even played a game. He can dribble. He literally can do everything, and he has vision. So he is the truth. You'll see his highlights too. He's gonna have posters this year. You're just gonna be like, holy shit, this kid is him. But he's gonna have games where he has 10 points, but he's the most valuable player on that team.
Mm-hmm. So, are you in the same boat, Eddie, with Duke in the ACC?
Honestly, I wound up honestly. I tailed Duke off of Jeff. I was kind of indifferent on taking something in the ACC this year, just because I didn't see. I like Cooper. I like his game. I do think that we're going to see a new Duke this year. But the main thing for me was I didn't see a lot of value in taking Duke that early. But honestly, I read Jeff's write-up, and then I kind of just thought about it after the fact. I'm like, honestly, that's a great point. Just because it's low odds, I didn't not just because it's low odds doesn't mean I can't not invest in it. And I thought that you made really good points in there. So I tailed it off of you.
Yeah.
I do think Duke is going to be like, they should steamroll through the ACC this year.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to be laying like plus 140 for a conference future. But that just goes to show like the confidence I have in this Duke team. Like I would never, like I wouldn't lay this unless I was extremely confident. Like the only other team I think that's even going to like have contention the entire course of ACC play is obviously UNC, but I don't like their front court at all. And their front court's young. They don't have Baycott. And to me, that's a huge change for them. They relied on Baycott down low for so long. He was there like his whole career. And now you got freshmen down there and they're not back to the basket scorers. So I think specifically when they play Duke, like Duke is going to be able to bully them down there. So,
dude, my thing when I look at the ACC is like, I mean, let's be real. The only real competition they have, and I guess on paper, is UNC. But is RJ Davis? I mean, he's going to have to average 25 points a game. I mean, who are they going to go to as a secondary scorer? Like they got transfers, but like, are they really going to?
He's going to have to do everything this year.
He's going to have to do everything.
Well, a lot of
successful.
A lot of UNC is dependent on Elliot Cadeau taking a big jump. Because he was a freshman last year, he couldn't shoot the ball.
Yeah, 7 points per game guy. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. Where are these points going to come from? Like, they got that Belmont guy, Tyson, which is honestly
he's good. He's not going to be. He's not. You don't go averaging 15.
Right, exactly. He's not going to average 15
in this conference. So
exactly.
They're going to be good though. Their backcourt is their strong suit. I mean, they have Cadeau, Davis, and Jackson, 5-star freshmen, and then Seth Trimble took a huge jump this offseason. Through like 2 scrimmages, he had like 35 total points and missed like 3 shots. But to me, it's more of like I don't like their front court at all, and I think that's going to cost them in a few games. I mean, you're going to have games where RJ Davis goes crazy, and they're going to win no matter what. And they are easily the second best team in this conference. But to me, it's like tier 1 is Duke, tier 2 is UNC, tier 3 is Wake Forest, Louisville, and those teams. And then obviously you get to the gutters, like Boston College. That team might be the worst Power 5 school.
Stanford.
Yeah, I think BC's worse. I think BC's BC's gonna be bad this year. Like,
so we can agree,
not a competition we want to be in.
We can agree that the ACC is a bit top heavy. We can all agree on that.
Yeah, very top heavy.
Duke. I mean, and even I know it's preseason play, but they've looked unreal. And the real strong suit of Duke, to me, has been how deep they are. I mean, it's nothing to look past the fact that you can go out there and run 10 guys, and especially in college basketball, man, you can rely on 10 guys in a rotation. That's fresh legs on and off the court. And if they can get the production from these guys coming off the bench, they're going to be scary, man. It's like, dude, that's a team where I can see points coming from everywhere. But UNC, like, you look at their roster and it's like, yikes, man. It feels like they might have some games where they struggle to break 70. Like,
I just think all their offense is coming from that backcourt.
Agreed.
It's not a winning formula. Like, to me, I think you just have to be able to score at all 3 levels, and I don't see that happening consistently. Obviously, there'll be nights. But, yeah, RJ Davis is 35. Thoughts on Clemson?
I was going to say.
Yeah, me either. They'll be worse than last year.
I was going to say, too. I don't know. I was going to ask you guys if there's any sleepers you have for the ACC if you had to pick one of the lower-level teams. I was going to say maybe a Miami.
I wouldn't call them a sleeper. I'd say Pitt for me.
Pitt?
I'd say, like, Pitt, yeah.
Enough of a sleeper to be plus 1,500 Miami is, you know?
Yeah, but it's just because of how much – like, look at Duke and UNC's odds, and then look at Wake Forest odds. It's the 3rd place.
Just because it's so top-heavy? Okay.
That's, like, seriously, it's truly a 2-man race. And to me, it's like I'm getting Duke versus UNC at plus money. So that's kind of how I had to think about it. Like, obviously, there's going to be games where, like, Wake Forest is going to beat a good team at home. Wake Forest is good. Louisville is going to be very good this year. But they're not going to be Duke good. They're not going to be UNC good. It's literally a 2-man race in this conference. If Duke or UNC doesn't win this conference, I'll truly be, like baffled. I would be
I'm
baffled.
somewhat surprised Louisville is getting priced the way they are behind Clemson and Miami. Like,
They're going to be better than both
agree.
of those teams.
I kind of agree, Xander. I mean,
Yeah,
for a
to
value
me-
play, I guess Louisville. Looking at the
To me,
odds,
Louisville's the fourth best team in this conference besides Duke, UNC, and Wake. I think Louisville's good. Terrence Edwards, too, from JMU. That kid is going to average 20 a game. He's disgusting.
see a top 10 transfer. I'm looking at the list.
He's got to be.
He was high. I mean, he was probably the best, like one of the, if not the best scorer to come out of the portal.
Yeah, he's
unreal.
he might not have been top 10 just because he came from JMU, but he's the best scorer on Louisville. Not even a question. The kid is nasty. So, thoughts on SMU? I actually haven't really followed SMU. I know they lost Zerk Phelps, and they got that kid from UMass. What's his face? Matt Cross. I don't think they'll be that good though. I think it's going to be interesting to see. You have all these new teams coming into like the ACC, for example, where you have a California. Like, I wonder, or like in the Big Ten, UCLA. I wonder if that's going to be like an advantage for UCLA when they're at home, because that team is traveling. Like when BC plays on the road at Cal, it's a 7-hour flight for a basketball game, which they're not used to. BC,
especially if they have games, 2-3 games between each other.
So yeah, exactly. I mean,
2-3 days. I should say.
I think like a good spot to pay attention to this year would be like when a team on the East Coast is on short rest and then they have to fly across the country. But I also think you'll see that in the line. I think that'll be priced in. Like, I think these California teams like UCLA are going to have, instead of maybe like the traditional 3 points they get at home, they'll probably get like 4. Maybe not off the jump, but I think if you see that trend,
it's definitely something to track and keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's something to definitely. That's what I'm more interested in than anything, just because, I mean, it's so weird saying like UCLA is in the Big Ten. Like it's just weird. So
it's gonna be cool.
Like Cal is in the ACC. So, but also vice versa. Like UCLA, Cal, they might be horrible on the road. I think you're going to see a lot of like home and away splits for these California teams, West Coast teams. I mean, you could think California, like they're screwed, bro. Like 90% of the teams every team in this conference besides Stanford is on the East Coast pretty much, and SMU's in Texas. So it's like they're going to be jet lagged every game. But something
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm still here, by the way.
Any other sleepers we got in the ACC before we move conferences?
The problem is that like Jeff was saying, it's just so top heavy. I mean, I like Georgia Tech's backcourt. I do, but not enough to take them even 80-1. I'm not a fan of the front court at all. They got Luke O'Brien from Colorado. He's a solid pickup, but I just don't think that their guys down low are gonna be able to bang with the likes of Duke and even UNC. Like I really don't. I think like you were saying, if I had to choose anyone, I'd probably take Louisville. But even that, I considered Duke way more than I considered Louisville, and it's just I don't.
Yeah, it's a 2-man race. This conference is like one of the only, like this is the only conference to me out of the like Power Fives that is like truly this is very top heavy, like severely. So, and also I just want to note Boston College would be the worst Power 5 team. They'll be worse this year than Louisville was last year.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's see what the next conference here is. Non-Atlantic Sun.
Let's go FGCU.
Go to Big East will probably be next. It's in alphabetical. Yeah, Big East right there.
Yep.
Smaller conference. Thank God.
We'll bring this up on my side.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
The Big East holds a special place in my heart, Jeffrey, for many reasons.
I hate the Big East.
No, you love it because the Big East tournament was the first Ramble meet, and it will forever be cemented.
Listen, I like the Big East tourney. I don't like betting on the Big East during conference play though at all. But
yeah, Kalkbrenner is about to make the Big East his bitch.
I mean, obviously UConn is the fave. I don't think they're going to win the conference. I think either Creighton or Xavier will. But I know a lot of people are high on St. John's as well. I'm high on them, not as high as a lot of people though. But I think Creighton's going to win or Xavier. They're fucking good. And I didn't know how Pop Isaacs was going to fit into Creighton, but they scrimmaged Purdue and they put up 93 points. Pop Isaacs had like 20 points, 6 or 7 assists. He looked great. And you have the best big man in college basketball, Kyle Brenner. He's better than Dickinson, just because Dickinson is a traffic cone on defense. But Calc is a problem. I think Xavier got really good. They were plagued last year with injuries. They're going to be really good. But UConn's going to be in the mix, and you really don't want to fade Dan Hurley. I have no futures in this conference just because it's hard for me to.
I don't know what to think
Hurley.
of St. John's, dude. They have so many they have these sexy transfers, and on paper it looks fucking awesome. I mean, 2 top 20 transfers in Kadari. I mean, the best transfer in the class in Kadari Richmond coming over, and then what is it? Is it Devion or Devion?
Devion.
Yeah,
Devion Smith.
I don't know too much about him. Do you guys know? Do you guys know his background?
You can go at it, yeah.
Yeah, he started at Mississippi State his freshman year, wound up going to Georgia Tech. From Georgia Tech, went to Utah. Was at Utah for the last 2 years, I believe. Yep. And then from Utah, he's at St. John's for his 5th year. But I really think a lot of people are sleeping on this. No one knows that much about Aaron Scott, and he's about to take over the Big East. I don't think
North Texas boys.
Let's not talk about the AAC. But I don't think he's not going to take over. That was a poor choice of words, but I do think he's going to be very effective for St. John's, and he's just the type of player that will respond well to the Rick Pitino system, and it's just going to be he's going to be on go for 40 minutes, and that's exactly the type of guy that St. John's needs.
He's a perfect fit too. I agree because he's 6'8", defends really well, and he can hit the three. He played for North Texas last year, and a lot of the times he was a ball dominant scorer because he kind of had to be on that team. But he's going to be able to just camp the 3-point line and get open looks. Because Devion Smith, I mean, he's super small. That's why I don't really love his game. But when you look at the conference, I mean, UConn has small guards with Hassan Diarra and Aiden Mahaney, and then even Creighton, Pop Isaacs, and Stephen Ashworth. They're both all small, and those are the best teams in the conference. So I think matchup wise, they do match up with the better teams. And like Miles is saying, they have Ejiofor from Kansas, who's a big man who didn't really live up to the potential last year at Kansas, but he could make that jump. But I like Creighton, man. I like Creighton's team, and they beat Purdue in a scrimmage, and they didn't even have arguably their best pro prospect in Fedor Zujic, who played overseas last year. He's like a Luka Doncic. He's going to be nasty. And they're actually deeper than I thought. I mean, I watched the scrimmage. Frederick King, he's been a backup big for years now. He looked great. And they got shooters. So it's going to be a good Creighton offense. Creighton probably has the best offense in this conference by a wide margin.
This feels like Cal Brenner's year for me, bro. Just off gut feel, it feels like Cal Brenner is going to have a huge, huge year.
Yeah, there's some people out there who like him to win the Wooden.
It's still Dan Hurley and the Huskies, though.
It's hard to fade that system, right? The thing is, I will say though, the past 2 years, his rosters talent-wise were significantly better, and this year they don't have a front court. They have a front court, but they don't have a front court like they did. They went from Sonogo to Klingon, and now they have Samson Johnson and Tyrus Reed, where neither of them are really. They're Samson Johnson. He's super athletic, not a Klingon or Sonogo, who's a back to the basket player. Same with Tyrus Reed. He's not a back to the basket player. And I think that's going to change a lot of the ways they have to run their system because you don't have that threat. You really only have a lob threat instead of Klingon getting the ball in the post. And if you don't double him, just put up the points on the basket. Same with Sonogo when he was 2 years ago when he was there. So I think that's kind of an element that's going to be missing from UConn's game. I understand they're going to respect because they definitely should. Dan Hurley's the best coach in the nation. And his systems are insane. So I can't be mad at the odds, but yeah. Also, the best player in this conference, Cam Jones on Marquette. That kid to win the Wooden might be a sprinkle.
That's a
3,000. Where's 3,000?
I thought it was a little higher. I thought it was 50.
It's somewhere around there. Yeah, it might be plus 5,000 actually. That's worth a sprinkle. He averaged 20 a game last year. Easily the best shooter in this conference. One of the best shooters in the country. And he averaged 20, and that was with Kolek and Iguodala on the team. So now you want to talk about Marquette. I mean, Cam Jones, I think, is going to be an absolute weapon on offense. I mean, he already has been past couple seasons, but this year I think he's going to just eat up. And then Chase Ross. What's up?
What team would have the most turnover, would you say, in like the top 5 projections of the Big East? Would you say it's UConn?
Turnover?
In terms of roster
Providence.
turnover.
Yeah.
Providence.
Right, they had all those seniors last year, right?
Yeah, maybe Creighton, though, too. Creighton only lost, Trey Alexander, right?
And Baylor.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, they lost Baylor Shireman. Yeah, never mind. Who's like their offense. So,
At least
I'd probably say Providence. I don't think Providence is going to be amazing this year, but like Providence at home, that's a system in its own right. So,
I think also with Marquette to add on, I think I'm very high on Ben Gold this year. I think he's gonna be really nice. I mean, he took a year. He wasn't like super prominent in their system last year, but you saw the flashes. And I mean, Shaka has kept him there. He did not get anyone from the portal for a reason. I think we're going to see a lot of him. And I mean, you have a 7-footer basically that can score all 3 levels. It's a very good thing to have, especially in the Big East, if you can pull guys out of the paint like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something Providence hasn't had, is like a really predominant big man.
Marquette. That's Marquette.
That's Marquette.
Oh, that's Marquette? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
The only thing is, like, when I look at their depth chart, like, other than Ben Gold, they don't have a center. And Ben Gold doesn't play. Ben Gold doesn't play that inside role.
Was he on the squad last year?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, just didn't really play.
But he played behind Osa Gadoro, so it's like can't really take off Osa. That kid was disgusting. So
yeah. All right, we want to move conferences. Big Big Ten. This is a conference I really want to talk about. I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts. You obviously like Illinois.
No, I like every team in this conference, bro. Like genuinely, I'm gonna just run down the list here. I could see Illinois, Indiana, UCLA, Oregon, and Purdue all winning this conference. Like, I don't think either of those teams should have higher odds than the other. Truthfully, I think Illinois is gonna start off non-con and look bad because they have so many freshmen. But their talent is crazy. To me, when I look at talent-wise, they're the most talented roster in the Big Ten. But they're young, so I think the non-con they're gonna play some good teams and they're gonna get beat up, and then by the time conference play comes, they'll be ready. But there's so many teams in this conference, man. Like, I'd rather you guys like even chat, just like ask us about teams, and we'll tell you because there's so many teams to run through. I will tell you, dude. I think Indiana, man, is a really sneaky look to win the Big Ten. Yeah, their coach is Mike Woodson now, so it's like true. But I mean, can we agree that team last year wasn't too talented? I mean, you look at their conference play; they were 10-10, and then you look at their home record, man. Like, that's nothing to look past. They don't lose at home, regardless of the talent they have on the roster. And, like, getting all these additions, I don't know if it's, like, that sexy team on paper that gets all these new acquisitions. Like, they have 3, top 25 transfers coming in. Ballo, Miles Rice. Miles Rice. Disgusting. Miles Rice is nasty. And Cannon Carlisle. Cannon Carlisle is actually – he's all right. I was about to say, I think Miles Rice I would rank higher than Cannon Carlisle personally. Oh, not even close. And he's not. He's not. Carlisle's 15th in the transfer class. Those rankings are bullshit. I promise you. You ask anyone that knows ball, they'll tell you Miles Rice is better. Yep, I agree. That's why I wanted to bring it up. That team's going to be good. Like they have the roster. It's just I don't like Mike Woodson. Like he's not a good coach. And like what Rhino said, do you think it's a do or die season? I truly do. Because this is the best roster he's had. If he doesn't make it work with this roster, and at least finish like top 3 in the Big Ten, that's a failed season. It's a failed season. So Indiana's going to be a team I'm going to be backing a lot at home this year, I think. I like the roster, how it's configured, but it could be one of those teams that just looks really great on paper. And like, I mean, basketball is all chemistry. Y'all know that. So yeah. Fluffy just asked what makes Purdue stand out besides Braden Smith, which a lot of people like don't value coaches, but like Matt Painter. Like, I trust Matt Painter to put together the pieces throughout a season. And you also have Braden Smith, who's the best point guard in the nation. He's not on my list, but he's not even – it's not even an argument that he's top 5 in the nation. I mean, the kid's a bucket. You still take you have Fletcher Lawyer still. You have Trey Kaufman-Renn. They have one kid who's 7'4", Daniel Jacobson, who's a freshman, who I think will be better as the season continues. He's not that good right now, but then you have Miles Colvin. You have Trey Kaufman-Renn still, Caleb Furst, Camden Heide. I think they have a lot of solid pieces where one thing, Purdue doesn't lose at home, just like Indiana. And two, they have the best coach in this conference at this moment. All time is Izzo, but I think Matt Painter is probably the best coach in the conference right now. And so I think I would trust him to put the pieces together throughout a season. Yeah, I agree as an Indiana fan. Yeah, he's if Mike Woodson doesn't do good this season, he's gone. Not even a question. Not even a question. But yeah, that's where I'm at with Purdue though. Do I think their roster's amazing? No. But you have Matt Painter. It's kind of like Dan Hurley, bro. Like, I don't want to compare Dan Hurley and Matt Painter, but Dan Hurley finds a way. Doesn't matter who's on that roster. I genuinely believe us three could play on Dan Hurley's team and be starters, and we'd find success just because of the system he implements. But that's just me.
Someone said thoughts on Oregon.
Dude, yeah, they seem pretty high ranked in terms of projections. I didn't expect them to be. What are your guys' thoughts?
You can go, Eddie.
I'm not really super high on them. I think that them losing Couisnard is going to be pretty big. I mean, he was a high percentage of his usage was super high for them last year, and they do still have Shelstad. They have a lot of the guys that were the core of their team last year. But until I see someone come in and take over that role that he did, I think they're going to struggle a lot to score early. And it may look like how they looked before that big Pac-12 tournament run, because they did not look like fantastic last year up until that run. And then they started going because it was just Couisnard taking all those shots, and they had everyone stretching. They had Kwame stretching the floor and stuff like that. So it's just like I need to see someone take over for them before I'm willing to say that they're going to be good. They need to prove me wrong.
Yeah. I think Oregon's going to be one of those teams where you can fade them on the road against like a Maryland and back them at home against the best teams in this conference. UCLA, also another team. Like I'm high on UCLA. I'm high on a lot of Big Ten teams, but I feel like part of that is because I just think like the top like 6 teams in the Big Ten are all like so closely rated. In my rankings, at least. Like UCLA, I mean, you give Mick Cronin an actual good roster. You saw UCLA last year; they had a bunch of freshmen, and Mick Cronin, one of the best coaches in the Big Ten, they struggled early. Then later in the season, they went on a run. They started figuring shit out. Keeps a lot of that same roster from last year, and then adds some. I think UCLA is going to be a really good team this year. I think their defense is going to be tops of the Big Ten. They're going to be slow. They're going to be an ugly team, but they're going to win games. I think their defense is going to be really, really, really good. And they have good pieces. Dylan Andrews comes back. Sebastian Mack comes back. That's their starting backcourt. They have Eric Daly now from Oklahoma State. Stefanovic, their shooter, he's still on the team. Kobe Johnson. Kobe Johnson from USC is probably the best defender in the entire nation. This defense is going to be elite. Probably, in my eyes, a top 5 defense in the entire nation. And we'll see if that comes into fruition throughout the entire season. The only defenses I'd like comfortably put above them is Houston, Iowa State, and Duke. UCLA's defense would be disgusting.
Seen everyone slurping Rutgers in Indiana, and nobody talking about Izzo and Mich State. Yeah, it makes sense. Rutgers and Indiana have the sexy new additions. I mean, me personally being a Rutgers fan, I mean, I would love to say I have high hopes, but it's really going to be the games that Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper just take over that we're going to win. But other than that, we're not really going to be competitive. But it's going to be fun to watch them. I'm definitely going to be.
You'll be fun to watch though, bro.
Yeah,
and especially like you guys, you know how it is there.
We're going to pull out that one crazy upset during the year. I don't know which one it's going to be, but
you guys always beat Purdue.
Probably be Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey combining for like 50 points. Something
Ace
like
is going to be so good.
Dude,
Ace like an average game, bro.
Fun. But I was even watching the scrimmage of Dylan Harper, bro. He was impressing the shit out of me. That dude just hits every open shot, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
disgusting. So is Ace. I think Dylan's a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you know why Ace Bailey's like, he's got that NBA build. Like you could throw him on. He could guard 1 through 4 pretty much.
Yeah.
On an NBA floor.
Yeah, if he was a little bit bulkier, he's really skinny, so he can't really guard the 5. But that's what I think Rutgers' weaknesses. They don't have a front court.
Our center.
But also, I don't think that's going to be their DNA. I think they're just going to want to. I mean, you see Rutgers play slow every year.
If pushing the pace,
if this motherfucker plays slow with Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, fire him. Like literally fire him. You don't play slow when you have these 2 players on your team. And even they got one good ass shooter. I forget from where. I think he's from Pacific. I forget his name, but he's a knockdown shooter too. So you're gonna have a few weapons on that team. But I can't see him competing.
Is it PJ Hayes?
Yeah, PJ Hayes. I think he's from Pacific.
Jeremiah Williams was on the squad last year, if you remember him. He's that really undersized guard that can create.
Yeah,
he's nice. Hey, Jeff, thoughts on the Buckeyes?
Thoughts on the Buckeyes? Dude, I think the Buckeyes are going to be so bad this year. And I'm like getting mad because I'm seeing all this hype from everyone on the Buckeyes this year. Like, oh, they got Michi Johnson, they got Aaron Bradshaw, Sean Stewart, Micah Parrish. I think this team's gonna suck, dude. I really do. I hate that they hired Diebler. If you guys don't know, their coach got fired midseason. Diebler was the interim, and then they fully hired him. They could have hired Dusty May. They could have hired much more qualified coaches. I'm not a Diebler guy. I don't think they're going to be good. Or I don't think he's going to be good as a coach. And when I'm looking at the roster, I mean, I see Bruce Doran. He's a good point guard, one of the best assist turnover ratios in the country. And he excels when he's creating for others, which to me is not going to be able to do on this roster. This roster, I'm looking at it, I see 2 scorers, and that's Bruce Doran and Michi Johnson. And neither of them are consistent. They both shot under 34% from 3 last year. Michi Johnson shot like 40% from the field as a whole. Same with Bruce Doran. And past them, I don't like their depth. I mean, they have Kes Glover off the bench. He didn't play last year. The last year he played was 2 years ago for Samford, and that's not any good that's not good competition. So I'm not a believer in this team. Sean Stewart and Aaron Bradshaw is their backcourt, and both of them were 5 stars coming out of college. They went to Duke and Kentucky last year. Mm-hmm. And I think Ohio State is already priced at their ceiling right now. I look at KenPom, they're like 33rd in the nation or something like that. I think that's their price. If Aaron Bradshaw takes a jump, if Sean Stewart takes a jump, which to me, I don't see both of them taking those jumps. And even if they do, I don't love their offense, and they have no depth. They scrimmage. Yeah, I mean, it was preseason and it's an exhibition, but they lost by 18 to Cincy, but they were down 27 with 10 minutes left in that game. And then they scrimmaged Ohio University in the MAC, who's probably going to be the best MAC team. But for whatever reason, they wouldn't tell us to score. All they said was they won. So to me, that seems suspicious. I feel like it's releasing a score. You don't even have to release a box score. You can just say the score of the game. They don't want to do that. I'm low on this team, man. I really am. I hate their depth. And I don't view Sean Stewart or Aaron Bradshaw as scorers. I think they're more shot blockers. They're defensive bigs. And even Micah Parrish, I mean, he's supposed to be their spot up 3 guy in the corner. Shot 29% from 3 last year. So I just don't think this team's going to be good. I see everyone, a lot of people are high on Ohio State. I don't see it. I could be completely wrong, but I don't see it. I think Bruce Thornton is at his best when he's facilitating the ball, and he's not going to be able to do that this year. He doesn't have weapons. They got no shooters. So,
yeah, I love Michi Johnson, but I agree with you. I agree.
It's just like, to me, like,
there's too much comp, man.
This Ohio State team is going to want to play fast, and they're not going to be able to. Like, I just don't. I'm just so low on the offense. Their defense will be solid.
It feels like the most competitive conference in terms of
top to bottom. It definitely is. Top to bottom, it is. Like a team
top in the Big 12 is better.
Oh yeah, same with SEC. But like even like a team like Maryland, like no one's talking about. Like I love Maryland's roster. They got the best front court probably in the nation. In Julian Reese and Derek Queen. I mean, Derek Queen is going to be in the NBA next year, and Julian Reese has shown for years now that he's a great college center. And And then you have Jacoby Gillespie coming from Belmont, who's a bucket. Selton Miguel from USF. Eddie, obviously, you know him. Kid was fucking me over every single time I faded them last year. They're a good team, and no one's talking about Maryland. But like Maryland at College Park, I'm going to be betting on them all the time at College Park. I love their team. But it's just, yeah. I mean, there's teams I'm high on, low on. I'm probably like relative to like preseason expectations, I'm the lowest on Ohio State, and I'm probably the highest on Maryland in terms of like preseason projections. But yeah, I mean, this conference is going to be it's going to be good. Like, I think the gap between second place in this conference and 10th place in this conference is going to be like 2 games. So
I think one team that I'm pretty high on preseason, they won't win the conference. I do think they're going to be better than people expect, though. I'm pretty high on Penn State. I think them returning Ace, and they return a lot of their roster from last year. They played a majority of their games last. Like people will look at the stats from last year, like, oh, they're losing their leading scorer. Kanye Clary didn't play the last like 8 or 9 games of the season for them, and they did not look bad without him. They went ahead. They brought in Freddie Delone from Tennessee, who's going to be good. Like he's gonna be a very good 2 for Ace, I think, and returning a lot of their scoring. I like the roster that Rhodes has. Last year they were just young, and I don't think they were ready for Big Ten play. But I think they're going to surprise people a lot this year. They won't win it, but I think there's definitely a chance they could finish in the top third of this conference and maybe make a push for the NCAA tournament. I think there's a real path for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Clip it.
Yeah. Yeah, the team that's not making the tournament from this roster, from this conference, is the Ohio State Buckeyes. That team is dog shit. We'll see if I know ball or not in a few months from now, but that team is ass. And they're like in people's top 25s. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know if I'm just
people love them.
I don't see how. I don't. Like, I don't even see like an art. Like, they're going to suck. I think they're going to suck. I think they're going to be bad, man. I don't know. I don't even like hate Ohio State like that. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't hate any college teams besides like USF.
I'm looking at their transfers. But, I mean, nothing is really impressive transfer portal wise.
Like, they got Michi back, but it's like
Michi's a great player, but
you're relying on 2 centers who underperformed all last year to like miraculously become disgusting again. Like they were in high school. Like some prospects just don't pan out. And I'm sorry, but hiring Jake Diebler is a stupid decision to me. Could have had Dusty May as your head coach. You have Jake Diebler.
Bradshaw definitely has some potential, but
that's the thing. That's the thing, MJ. Both of them do. They were both 5 stars coming out of college. They went to Duke and Kentucky.
The other bull was too.
They didn't do shit. Yeah, Sean Stewart went to Duke. He was a 5-star out of high school. They
they just have like, it's like the house of rejects is this team.
It's just, to me, like they're everyone that's high on them, they could be like throughout the season if they progress, but I can't see them both taking these massive jumps. Like, they both were bad last year on their teams.
Yeah.
So it's just like to me, it's like you're just banking on that. As an Ohio State fan, I agree. I think it would be horrible. Jake Diebler's a horrible choice. We're desperate for a hire. Yeah, I don't understand the hire, but and I don't put much stock into like what he did last year when he took over the team. I think the team needed that at that time. They were horrible. Fire the coach. Here comes the interim. But fuck.
Lost his energy and became
lost his energy. What do you mean? How am I a pessimist? I'm talking about a team I'm low on, bro. What do you want me to be? I'm literally, the whole point of me is to talk shit about this team because I think they're gonna suck.
That's such a funny comment. Pessimist is crazy.
Big fella. Also, I didn't see you this weekend at Parents Weekend or Alumni Weekend last weekend.
I love Big fella, bro.
Didn't pull up on me though, huh?
Oh yeah, he said he was gonna pull up and fight you.
Yeah, never happened.
Big 12. Do you guys want to go to this conference or a different one?
Yeah, we can go.
Yeah, we can talk about Big 12.
Eddie, you can go first. I need a breather. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I got you.
Right back.
I think honestly, what it comes down to is the top half of this conference. It's going to be so hard to pick a winner here, just because the top half is just so insanely loaded. Like, you're going to see every single team in the Big 12 got better. Well, all right, no, it's crazy. Every single team in the Big 12 brought in transfers with the idea of getting better.
Yes.
And some of them are going to. I think that we're gonna see a lot of teams not get a return on investment this year. But I think just the top 5 that you can really just bank on to be good, and it's going to be a crapshoot for who wins. I think the top 5 are Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, and Baylor. And I'm a little bit lower on Baylor than most people are. I am not a fan of the roster at all. We can get into that when Jeff gets back. But I think that I'm going to show them respect for now, but I do think there's a very real path where that team is not good this year. Texas Tech should be solid this year. A little lower on them, but I do think they're going to be good. I really like Grant McCasland. He runs a really good defensive system. We saw that at North Texas, brought it over to Texas Tech. It was a little harder to run that because he had Pop there. It was a lot of
year now.
Yeah, it's his second year now. He was returning a lot of guys when he came in. But I think that this is the first year that he's going to get a pure roster that he wanted. So we're going to see a lot of what he ran at North Texas. It's going to be a lot of low-scoring games, going to be a lot of just grinded-out matchups. And it's something that I don't think a lot of people in outside of Houston, not a lot of teams in the Big 12 are willing to have grinded-out games. It's a lot of just go, go, go. And I think we're going to see a lot of McCasland slowing it down, which might – honestly, it could work out to their benefit. And I think there's a path for Texas Tech to – exceed expectations because of that.
I don't hate that. Yo, appreciate the sub, Espresso. Much love, man. I thought you mentioned Baylor. The thing that was so weird to me, I think the weirdest transfer of the season was Jeremy Roach, or at least unexpected. I did not see that coming at all. I figured he would be kind of a 4-year guy for that program, but I don't know. It's weird. So you said you were low on Baylor?
I'm low on Baylor because I look at the roster and it's kind of a weak comparison, but I just think back to I was super high on Miami going into last year. And the main reason was I liked the backcourt and I liked Omier. But as the season got on, you saw there was just no front court help for Omier, and the backcourt and Miami was just a shit show the entire season. You couldn't back them. If you put any money on them, you were losing your bet. That's
just how injuries, yes, for sure.
And obviously, it's a different year. You don't want to bank on injuries. But if Omier goes down or if something happens, that front court is extremely thin. And are those guards going to be able to hold up for an entire season? And will they be able to will a poor front court all the way deep into March and April? That's what I don't really believe in. Even with Omier, I'm not a big fan of that front court, and that's what concerns me with them.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
I think a lot of people are kind of just not even thinking about that because they have Omier. I think it's a very important thing that needs to be mentioned when you talk about backing them or even putting a future on them. They're very thin in the front court.
Yeah, they do have Ojanyu off the bench, who's going to be their rim protector. Obviously, Omier is going to be the offensive guy. They're going to have 2 looks. Their backcourt is disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, their backcourt.
Not doubting that.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, Jeremy Roach, Jaden Nunn, Vijay Ejikam, and Langston Love, if he can stay healthy for a whole season. And then they're going to have 2 looks. They're going to have the defensive look where they have Ojanyu on the floor, who's a huge kid, athletic freak, who's going to be a rim protector. And then they're going to have Omier on the floor where they're going to be able to score in the front court, but they're probably going to be giving up a lot defensively just because he's undersized and he hasn't ever been a good shot blocker. So that's definitely their weakness. I think offensively, though, this team is honestly could be easily the best in the Big 12. Bill Self has had one of the best offenses in the nation for the past few years, and they haven't had a good defense since they had Davion Mitchell. So I think kind of what your risk with Baylor is how their defense is going to look. I mean, Scott Drew has shown that he's capable of coaching a good defense. Past couple of years, he has not done that. And so if he can get his guys to buy in, I don't love their defenders, though. I think Jaden Nunn's a great on-ball defender, but and I think VJ will too, just because of how athletic he is. But Jeremy Roach, undersized guard, don't love him defensively. Just as a player in general, obviously in the right system, he can thrive defensively, but on ball, don't love it. And then Langston Love, good all-around player. But I think this Baylor team is nasty. I do think this Baylor team is nasty. They're gonna offensively, at least, they're gonna be a problem. Front court defense, that's their issue, and it's a big issue. especially if either Ojanyo or Oromir gets hurt, their season could crumble because they would get exposed down there, especially in a league like the Big 12 where you're playing Houston, Kansas, Iowa State, like physical teams down low.
Yeah, it's a bad problem.
Could be a problem. Yeah, but it also depends. I mean, Omier plays bigger than his size. He's like 6'8", but he plays like he's 7 feet tall. So it really just depends. But yeah, I think Houston wins the conference though.
Coolest name of the conference, hands down, goes to Day Thomas on Cincinnati. I'll just say that.
Jizzle James on Cincinnati.
Jizzle James? No.
Jizzle
oh my
James
God, I missed him. Oh,
Jizzle
you're right.
James.
Dude,
Olympia
James.
High School product.
Dude. Speaking of Cincy though, I am extremely high on Cincy. I love their team. I think, especially early on in the year, if you look at Baylor, like their roster is great. They have one returning starter, Jaden Nunn. He hasn't played with VJ, hasn't played with Roach, hasn't played with Jalen Celestine or Omier. They're all new faces. So I think early in the year, like fading teams with a lot of new pieces and backing teams with a lot of continuity could be beneficial. Like Cincy's returning like their entire roster, and then they just bring in Dylan Mitchell from Texas, who's an athletic freak. I love their team. They're going to be good. They're going to be very good. I mean, they thrashed Ohio State.
This might be my new Indiana State, is Cincinnati this year.
I will be right there with you, bro. Like I do love this Cincy team, and they out-rebounded Ohio State 38-21 in their exhibition game.
Good Lord.
That's just the brand of basketball they play. Like they're physical. They brand themselves on rebounding and defense, and I love their offense this year. I think Dan Skillings, their leading scorer last year, he's going to take another jump. Jizzle James going to take a jump.
Dave Thomas is on Diago.
That's their one weakness in my opinion.
Who is that?
Bondego. I don't love him. He's super skinny, but he's super long. Pause on that. But he's a good defender. But I just think the DNA of this team is perfect for Big 12 basketball. They played a similar style like a Houston, where they'd rather play slow and they'd rather brand themselves on defense than offense. And I love their team. I love their roster. I'm a little low on Arizona, if I'm being honest.
Cool. All right, let's get a move on to the next one.
I don't even want to bring up my UCF future. That shit's already chalked.
What one?
UCF.
Yeah, no, that shit's caked.
Yeah, no, that shit's caked.
Georgia scored 114 on them in the scrimmage, bro. That's how you know that shit's caked. SEC, this is such a good conference.
It was small, thank God.
SEC.
I think this is the best conference this year. I'm not gonna lie. This conference is loaded.
Talk about the Hogs, brother. Talk about the
It's
Hogs.
gonna be a fun conference this year. I'm super high on Georgia.
I'm high on so many teams here. What the hell is this, MJ?
You like it or no?
Hell no.
Okay, I'll change it. 1 second. I have to go to the bathroom, so I figured I'd make it cool.
Nah, you're good.
Just going down, I think.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like the top dogs are Alabama and Auburn until someone else proves me otherwise. A lot of turnover, a lot of teams that had to rebuild after this year. I felt like last year it was a lot of guys last year, so a lot of teams reloaded this year. Adding Texas in as well Oklahoma is not going to really be that good, so I'm not really counting them. Adding Texas in is going to be pretty huge for the conference. I mean, outside of a couple of teams, I feel like you really just can't go against Auburn and Alabama at this point.
Yeah, they're going to be.
I feel like they're in their own tier, and then from there on, you could put Ole Miss, Tennessee, maybe Kentucky, and Georgia.
I wouldn't put Tennessee there. Put Tennessee way lower. I don't think Tennessee's going to be good this year. Their defense will be nails, but their offense is horrific. I'm not going to lie.
True.
Their offense is really bad.
Rick Barnes usually finds a way with those teams, even when they don't have great offensive weapons. So I mean, until I want to see what they do, but right now I'm high on them until I see that they just can't score.
Yeah.
Chaz Lanier is very good. Dude's a volume scorer. He's going to get the shots. The only worry I have with him is you can't really use him in the connect role because you were able to use connect and let him play the 2 and the 3, and he can handle the ball a little bit. Chaz is small. You can't really use him in that role. So it's going to be kind of hard with those lineups. He's going to have to be on the floor. They can't bring in other guys if they're going to have him on the floor. Yeah. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. I think like tier 1 in this conference is Bama and Auburn pretty easily. Both those teams are top 5 teams in the nation. And then to me, like tier 2, probably be Arkansas. I'm super high on Texas, Florida, and Ole Miss to me. Like I think Ole Miss, I'm not gonna lie, like I was kind of hating on them. And then I saw them play Illinois, and then I looked at their roster again, and I was like, this team's going to be good. And you also have Chris Beard in his second year at the program, which you get – obviously, like when you came in last year, everyone's like, they better be good. It's Chris Beard. You got to give the guy a year. You got to let him actually build a roster and teach him his system. I think Ole Miss is going to take a huge jump this year. They got depth, and they got scorers all around. And I like their bigs. I picked up Malik Dia from Belmont, and he's – a sniper. I love Ole Miss's team. I like Chris Beard as a coach, maybe not as a human, but as a coach. And then Texas is another team. I'm so ridiculously high on Texas. I think if you're going to sprinkle on a team to win the conference, there's no value on Bama and Auburn. I think you take Texas at like plus 1,900, 1,800. They have Jordan Pope coming from Oregon State, averaged 17 a game last year. And then you have Trey Johnson, 5-star freshman. He's going to lead them in scoring this year. The kid is disgusting. And you have Tremont Mark, Arthur Kaluma from Arkansas and Kansas State. Then you have Caden Cedric at the big. And then off the bench, you have the 2 Indiana State transfers. Julian Larry averaged 5 assists, shot 46% from 3 last year, averaging 11 points for Indiana State. He's a great ball. Like for him to be a backup too, he's an elite player. And then Jason Kent, 6'8", Indiana State, 13 points a game, like 9 rebounds a game. I love this Texas team. It's really going to come down to if Rodney Terry can figure it out. If Rodney Terry can figure out how to put this roster together and make them play to their potential, they're going to be disgusting. They played 2 scrimmages so far. They beat TCU by like 25. TCU just beat Arkansas, by the way. And then they beat Colorado only by 4, which is honestly a bad look. I think Colorado sucks. But they didn't have Tremont Mark, and they were up 17, and they led wire to wire. So I think this Texas team, talent-wise, is just loaded. They have so much talent. They have so many scorers. I love their roster makeup. Like Texas and Ole Miss, I think, are going to be like 2 teams that I want to back in certain spots more than others. And obviously, you guys know Texas was my wagon last year. Literally favorite team to bet on last year, Texas. You guys all knew that. We're playing Big X the Plug every single fucking stream. Texas was like my POD like 10 different times, and I think I was like 8-2 on them. I love that Texas team, and I think it's great that they're in the SEC now, because I think especially with this team's roster, they like SEC, like Big 12 is more physical defense and shit, and SEC is more like scoring and super hyper athletes. So I think they're going to fit perfectly in the SEC. I think a lot of teams are going to be good. Like Florida's going to be good this year. Georgia's going to be good. Kentucky's going to be good. This is the best conference in my opinion. Even Mizzou. I mean, Mizzou was 0-18 in conference play last year. I think they're going to be very good this year.
Mizzou's going to be very good this year.
You can talk about that. Isn't it? This is your POD for tomorrow. So
yeah. So my play of the day for tomorrow, it is Mizzou plus 4.5. I am super high on this roster. I mean, everyone saw last year they didn't win a single game in the conference. The team looked terrible. I think a lot of that was that, I mean, first of all, I like Tamar Bates as a player, but he can't be your entire team. But now bringing in a new round of guys, they brought in Jacob Cruz from Tennessee Martin. He is really good. I mean, had 13 shots a night, shot 49% from the field, 41% from 3. That's just, I mean, considering at his height and who he was matched up against, just no one could stop him in his conference. I don't see how that won't translate over. On top of that, they went ahead. They brought in Tony Perkins from Iowa. I mean, if you watched Iowa at all last year, Tony Perkins is a dog. And on top of that, I'm really a big fan of their wings. They got Caleb Grill. I was looking into this a little bit more today. Granted, they didn't have a great season, but in top 100 games, like in terms of like adjusted teams at the end of the year, his rating in those games was like 142. Like he was cooking. Like granted, he played limited minutes, but he's a senior. They're gonna let him play now. Like it's his time. They brought in Marcus Allen, 4-star from high school, good player. He's gonna be a good. Like they have really good wing depth this year, which I think is gonna be a major matchup advantage for them against some of these teams that aren't used to physical wings just coming at them all for 40 minutes. We saw Dennis Gates 2 years ago lead a really good Missouri team. I think right now it's a very good buy low spot for them, and you can back them early in the season. I wouldn't go as far as put a future on them, but I think backing them very early in the season could be profitable. And I mean, you're backing them tomorrow against Memphis and Penny Hardaway. So
yeah, it's not like you're fading a good team.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. No, I like it. I like what you said. MJ had to run, guys, so we'll finish it up. But Ski, I don't really have a read on that Florida game. I mean, Eddie, you go to USF still, so
I just graduated.
Graduated from USF. Do you have any thoughts on that game tomorrow, Florida?
Yeah, so I was looking at it a little bit more. It's unplayable for me. I try not to bet on USF unless I really like the spot. But I went ahead and looked at it a little bit more. I do lean the under. If I were to bet it, I'd bet the under. Looking at it, I mean, I don't want to use that as this is like an angle, but our coach died, Amir Abdur-Rahim. I don't know if anyone knew. He died 2 weeks ago, like out of nowhere. It was shocking loss. And they wound up the head coach or the associate head coach, Ben Fletcher, who's been with Amir last when he was at Kennesaw State, basically just helped him. Like he's his right hand man. He's coming in. He's taking over the team. So they're going to be running a lot of the same sets and stuff. I mean, the defensive scheme is going to look the same. I tried looking at it a little bit more. I did notice in games that USF played against better offensive teams last year in terms of KenPom rankings, the games did tend to go under. I think it was a 4-3 advantage, so it was a slight edge there. Yeah. But overall, I think that it's going to be a little bit of a slower game. It's going to be USF's going to try to make it play at their pace.
Yeah.
And the offense is not nearly as good as it was last year. It was a main emphasis on the front court in the transfer portal. The back court got weaker, front court got stronger. I just don't think that it's going to be a lot of it's going to be like 10 seconds before an offense gets put into motion on the USF side. So sorry for the yap.
No, you're good. I think also like another thing that I'll just say like in general for betting college hoops, I think it's different than every other sport, like for the first month at least. Like for the first month, like a lot of people will just like they won't follow the off season. And I'll just give you the free play now if you're in here. And it'll be my POD. Like my POD is Texas tomorrow, -2.5. And like a lot of people will look at that didn't follow it the offseason, and they'll look at that game and they'll say, holy shit, Ohio State's sharp. They're getting 20% of bets, 20% of the handle. They're sharp. I'm going to take them. Where for me, at least in November, I don't give a fuck about the splits or anything like that. I take teams that I'm high on and I back them. And if I'm low on a team, I'm fading them. It's my POD because I'm low on Ohio State and I'm high on Texas. So if I believe both of those are true and I'm confident in like what I see these rosters panning out to be, I'm going to see that as a spot where I'm backing Texas. So I would try not to look at stuff like splits early on. I really don't think it matters much. I think it matters about backing teams you're high on that you focused on in the offseason. I really don't think sharp and square means a fucking thing. Obviously, when it comes conference play, yeah, it definitely does. But early on in the season, you got to back teams that you like, and you got to fade teams that you don't like. That's how I handicap November. I think everyone has their own way, but that's how I mainly do it. Obviously, I look for other things as well, but like Texas has 80% of the bets, 80% of the handle, and if this was like a conference game in mid-January, I'd be like, shit, bro, like fuck. But it's the first game of the season. I don't give a fuck if Ohio State is sharp. If I think they're going to suck and I think Texas is going to be good, I'm going to back Texas before Vegas adjusts their lines. If I think Ohio State's going to be ass, I'm going to try and fade them as much as I can until the market adjusts. So I think that's really important to keep in mind.
Duke -29.5. I will say, JJ, I don't know. I'm personally on it for small. I'm on Santa Clara first half. Just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, I lean Santa Clara as well, but I'm not playing it. And I'm still waiting for this line to come out for like a few games. So, but yeah. I mean, seriously, like you guys don't have to. You guys can keep making fun of me for it. About the Dub Club. I mean, we got like over 100 people in the Discord right now, and we're talking ball every day. And I know you guys trust me. Think of it as an investment. If you're going to purchase it, think of it as an investment. So, obviously you don't have to join, but I'd appreciate if you guys stop chirping me. All right. That's about it. But we can wrap up. We covered all the big conferences. A couple teams were high on, a couple teams were low on.
For sure.
Shit like that. Yeah, we're excited. Eddie's probably going to be on the stream tomorrow. I'll be on the stream tomorrow too. For opening day. So yeah, we'll talk about like different games.
Should be a fun year.
What's up?
Should be a fun year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can we get an NEC preview? Absolutely not. We're not covering the neck, brother. I know that was a joke though. But all right, yo, I appreciate you guys for coming out. Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow. MJ left because she's completely burnt out, which I can totally understand. Kid's been streaming like twice a day for the past 10 days. So appreciate you guys coming in. We'll see you tomorrow. Excited for the best time of the year, bro.
Yes, all right, peace. Have a good one.